Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode in the RCT1 but beautiful series. And in this episode, I'm going to tackle Dynamite Dunes. In the last episode, I did Forest Frontiers, got a lot of really nice reactions, and I love the support I get from you guys. It means a lot to me. Anyway, let's jump into this scenario. So here we have Dynamite Dunes. Now, obviously we are able to buy more land in this scenario. But I'm not going to bother, just as in Forest Frontiers. I will work with the land that we have at the beginning of the map. Obviously at some point I'm going to remove these fences, because I don't really like the way they look. I'm going to replace it with a nice fence of my own. In Forest Frontiers I used vines, so here it will be a little bit different. But yeah, this will approximately be the land that I'm going to work with. Now, I have some nice ideas for this map. Basically, what I'm thinking of is to change this site into like an archaeological excavation site. Here we can of course see a Dynamite Blaster. I will upgrade this coaster. What I was thinking of was to upgrade this coaster into an RMC hybrid coaster, and I'm going to change the layout of the coaster, but I'll try to have it sort of recognizable still. Probably make it a bit bigger, maybe have it have an inversion or two. But yeah, I think this will be a really fun project to work on. And as we already have a pit here, I think that coaster would also be a great spot for an excavation site. So it would have lots of scaffolding, maybe some digging equipment or monster trucks, that kind of stuff. And possibly also some TNT, because that's of course the perfect tool for archaeological excavation. Over here in this part, I'm planning to have a little town for the workers. I might actually go for an in an Arabic style town. Something else which I was considering is to actually have like an Arabic style town that's being excavated here, and have more like a trailer park over here with temporary housing for the employees. I have not really decided yet. Anyway, I also want to have a nice gate over here, and of course some sort of wall around. What I'm thinking of is to just make sort of like a rocky desert landscape around the perimeter of the park, kind of similar to what I did in an earlier contest entry. Anyway, yeah, I think it's best for me to first start working on the outside of the map. Now, I already I already enabled all scenery and available rides, so I don't have to worry about that in my video, so that will save me some time. So now I will first start on the outside perimeter of the map. Alright, the park now has a nice border around it. So, this is just the way I like to make a rocky desert landscape. So, there's lots of these base blocks in the sandstone color. Just put some of these ruined statues on top, some of these blocks. Try to spread some cactus and some other bushes around. I like to put the foliage in clumps, so in some spots it's a little bit more dense than in the others. Yeah, I think that generally makes your foliage look nicer. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cheat so that I own all land, and I'm going to do a little bit more touch up around here just to add a little bit of just a few blocks on the outside, not much, but just to make it look a little bit less regular. Because when I remove this fence, this side of the rocks will look pretty flat, I think. Yeah, as you can see, this side now looks pretty flat. So if I add just a little bit of rock outcropping on the side, I think it will look much better. Now, there will probably be some of you writing in the comments now how this is cheating. And to that I yeah, I agree. This definitely is cheating. Because we're building outside of the land that you normally own in this scenario, and I absolutely don't mind. By the way, if you have played some of the RCT1 scenarios, you know there are several desert scenarios. And did you know all of them actually, or most of them actually use the same map? I believe there are Southern Sands and Pacific Pyramids. And if you rotate those maps, you will see they're actually the same map as this one, just with a different land area and different rotation. just a little bit of a fun fact. Anyway, yeah, I'm really happy with this border around the park. I think it looks much better than the original border that was here. And the next thing that I want to tackle is actually this roller coaster. Dynamite Blaster, kind of a nice coaster. It is quite prone to crashing, but yeah, that's not really my main concern. It might actually, crashing might actually fit the theme of it being a Dynamite Blaster. Anyway, yeah, I think it's time we give this coaster an upgrade, so I'm going to remove this existing track layout. I'm probably going to expand this pit a bit, and I'm going to make a nice hybrid coaster in its place. Alright, here we have our hybrid coaster. Well, of course, I'm going to name it Dynamite Blaster. Now, I tried to retain some of the characteristics that the original Dynamite Blaster also had. So, for example, first there's this drop down into a bit of a twisty section. Then only after that it goes up the lift hill. But besides that, there's not really much that I kept from the original layout. Well, of course it does go around in this pit, which I did make a little bit bigger just so I have a little bit more space to work with. And finally, here in the end, it does go underground a bit before here it returns back to the station. Now, with this out of the way, I'll have to make this coaster look nicer, and of course it's going to need a station and a queue. So yeah, I think that for the station I'm going to make it look partly like Egyptian ruins that are partly excavated, so with scaffolding around it, things like that. I think that will make it look pretty nice. And other than that, I'm also going to add a little bit of custom support under it, because I really like those RMCs that have actually have a steel structure for the lift hill, yeah, with some gaps in them, and that allows this part to be a little bit more open and less a sea of wooden supports. Alright, I think with this the immediate area of the coaster is done. So as you can see, we have some ruins here for the station, and yeah, I tried to make it look like it's partly collapsed or partly held up by materials put in place by humans later. So you can see some of this scaffolding here and some of this stuff in the ceiling as well, which apparently has collapsed. So yeah, I will probably be doing some touching up later in this area, but for now I'm happy with the way this looks. Now I also made a little transfer track over here. You can see it here. So the track here is just resting on some monorail track, which can slide to the right and to the left, and that way they could store a vehicle here if they wanted. Now we also have the queue here. I decided to just fit the queue in this area here next to the station. You can see it weave back and forth here. I made it pass under an outcropping of these ruins, filled in some empty space here with dynamite. And important, I put some of these coverings here over the queue, and that's just an insanely easy way of making your queue look more interesting. I think it also really helps for a queue that's in the desert heat, for the guests that are here to actually get some shade. Probably not enough, but I like the way this looks. And of course, you can also put some lamps here on the queue paths, which I definitely recommend, which is another way to decorate them more nicely. Yeah, with that part done, I will now move on to this area over here, near the entrance. And here I want to make sort of a little town. Alright, I've now made a little town here. Now I made some shops in here, so here's an iced tea stall in this building. Inside this building there's a seafood stall. Not really sure if there's any sea nearby here, but over here we have some toilets, and here we have a t-shirt stall. Or I should say a TNT shirt stall. Yeah, I think that's quite fitting with the theme of Dynamite Blaster, of course. Now, in order to actually get the guests over here, I made a little bridge over the original path here with a little bit of decoration. I think that makes it more interesting than having a normal path here. Now it does look like we are going to need some handymen here. Oh, we already have a few. Maybe we just need a few more. By the way, something which I forgot to mention. In the Forest Frontiers Park, I actually named all the staff members after patrons, and that's something which I'm also going to do in this park, just so you know. So if you decide to support me on Patreon, you will become a staff member in these parks. Alright, with this little town done, I think it's time to start working on the entrance over here. So just like in Forest Frontiers Park, I'm gonna dedicate quite a bit of area to the entrance. Now, I could have the entrance outside of the park, but yeah, I don't really know what to do with this space over here anyway. So instead I'm just going to dedicate this area over here to the park entrance. So I might just move these walls or these rocks out in a little bit, and then dedicate this area to the entrance. But I'll just play with it a bit and see what looks nicest. Alright, here we now have an entrance plaza, which I'm really happy with. So here we have the place where the guests actually enter the park. So I made a gate here with the sign with the park name on it, Dynamite Dunes of course. Made some pillars with these stone blocks, just put some simple statues in front. Made a little fountain over here in the middle. I also put some grass here around these paths. Yeah, even though you're building in a desert, you shouldn't be afraid to put some greenery here and there. It contrasts really nicely with the sand, and yeah, it will just make your park look so much nicer. I extended this rock work around this area a little bit. Over here I made the ticket counters. So yeah, unlike in the Forest Frontiers Park where the guests would pass by several of these ticket counters, here they're more on the side. And then over here there's this gate with security guards that will check the guest tickets that they buy here. Alright, I'm really happy with this area of the park so far. And the next area that I should tackle is this hill over here. What I plan to do here is basically make it look like partially excavated ruins. And I want to have a ride that travels through this area. So probably something like a monster truck ride. It will go underground several times, pop out here and there. And in the wall there will be lots of ruins which these cars will travel through. I think that will be a really fun and fitting attraction for the guests. Alright, that takes care of this area in the park. So as you can see, I've added this monster truck right here. Now I put it in shuttle mode, and that actually enabled me to make a part here where the cars actually travel in reverse. So you can see the cars arrive here, and since there's an end in the track here, and the cars are in shuttle mode, they will reverse here. They will travel backwards on this bit. Also I put some bumps here. And then when it arrives at this dead end, it will go forwards again and onto the next part of the track. Now I decorated here with some several ruins, some cactus, some barrels, TNT. Put this sphinx here which the cars travel around. And finally in the end I decided to decorate the top of this hill with some pyramids. I think they're definitely a defining element of the park. Definitely something you will immediately notice when you open the park. Anyway, there's now one big area left over here. I think I will make a little oasis here with a water ride in it. Okay, and that's our log flume done. Now, as you can see over here, I made this rotating platform. Yeah, I used this trick here where I put these coaster cars and actually replaced them with one of the vehicles of the reverser coaster. The reverser coaster actually has some bogies, and they work great to make a platform. Then if you just let them go in a circle, actually let me close the ride so it doesn't block any stat calculation. And there we go. I think it works pretty well as a rotating platform. So yeah, the station is a rotating platform, and then from there the guests pass by this little waterfall with these statues. First, then here there's a small drop passing by these ruins. Then after that there's a big climb. I replaced these pillars with these stone blocks. I think it works quite well. And then finally here there's a big drop with a big splash zone. A final turn around these ruins and then back to the station. So yeah, quite a simple layout I think, but I think it's definitely a effective layout. And yeah, it's I think it's typical what you would see for a log flume, except maybe the rotating platform. But all in all, I'm really happy with the way this looks. Okay, then finally I can turn my attention to this area in between. So yeah, I've been thinking what I want to do with this area. In the beginning I was not really sure, but in the end I decided I want to have everybody's favorite archaeology tool here, which is of course a bucket wheel excavator. I think it would be really funny to have a bucket wheel excavator here. You know, one of those huge digging machines they use in German mines to dig out huge chunks of land and coal. And yeah, it would be funny if we have one of those machines here actually carefully scooping out the ground to uncover ruins, and possibly also part of those ruins. And yeah, I want to have it actually look like it's digging out land. So unlike Class Action Megapark, I won't actually have any guests riding the bucket wheel, but rather I'll just put something like a invisible motion simulator on top that guests can enter. So you will still see guests queuing to enter the bucket wheel excavator, but on top they will just go inside, and possibly they will all get a turn at driving the bucket wheel excavator or controlling it. So I think that will be a fun final ride for this park. Anyway, it will be quite a lot of work, so I think it's best to just get started on the bucket wheel excavator. Alright, that's our bucket wheel excavator done. Now I put a little monorail on top, which the guests actually board. So it kind of looks like they're entering the cockpit of this ride, so they can try some archaeology themselves. Now I also hid a little sphinx underground here. So there's still quite some left to uncover. And you can also see some ruins here on top of this mountain. And some of the stuff that is all excavated here. So yeah, I think this is a really fun and wacky addition to the park. All that's left to do in the park is just a little bit of detailing. Now I will mostly do this off camera, as it will be difficult to follow in a time lapse. So yeah, I'll be back soon with the completed park. Alright, so now I added some details here and there. You can see some extra foliage around the log flume. Added some more of this garbage next to this, next to the excavator wheel. Some ruins here and there. Also I did some terrain elevation, and I placed some more dynamite here around the coaster. The coaster is called Dynamite Blaster after all. And over this path I placed some extra sun covers. And I put an ice cream stall here, since a lot of guests were complaining that they were hungry. So yeah, in 31 degree weather, ice cream for sure will be yeah, nice to have. Alright, yeah, with that done, I think there's just one thing left to do in the park. And that's something which I also did in Forest Frontiers, but only after I made the video. And that's adding all my patrons in the park as staff members. Now the park is not big enough for to have all my patrons as entertainers. Yeah, that would just look a little bit weird, I think. But I'll do my best to include as many patrons in the park as entertainers. And the rest of the staff members I will also name after patrons. So for sure everybody will be included in the park. Anyway, yeah, let's just go ahead with this. Alright, all patrons have been added in the park as staff members. So yeah, thanks a lot everybody for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it, and I really hope everybody enjoys their spots in the park. Let me hide these paths. Alright, so yeah, let's just take a quick tour through the park. So over here we have the entrance. So I made this gate over here with a nice sign above it. Here's a little plaza with a fountain in front of it. There's a ticket counter over here. Here's another gate, and we can see some security guards who will check the tickets. These security guards have also been named after patrons. Over here we have the little town with some shops and stalls. You can see an iced tea stall, seafood, some toilets as well, and a tea and t-shirt stall. Over here we can see a monster truck ride, which travels through these tunnels under these pyramids. Some bandits running around now here as well. Over here we have the log flume ride. Well, the nicest detail about this is probably, of course, the rotating platform here in the station. I quite like that. Over here I made an archaeology machine which helps excavate these ruins here very carefully. And over here, of course, we have this RMC coaster. Basically it's a conversion of Dynamite Blaster. You can see it travel around here. So yeah, just like the original Dynamite Blaster, first it travels down here, it goes around a bit, and over there's the lift hill, but after that the layout's actually very different from the original one, in that it's more RMC like. So at first it does a little bit of a helix here, then it drops down here with a half loop, and then after that just a very twisty layout with several inversions throughout this pit. I made the pit a little bit bigger than the original one, and also placed some decorations here in the form of more dynamite, and of course I gave it a nice station with a decorated queue as well. So yeah, that's pretty much my rendition of Dynamite Dunes. Now, it took quite a bit longer to do than the Forest Frontiers park, but I think it was very much worth it, because I really love how it turned out. Alright, that was my rendition of Dynamite Dunes. I'll try to do the Leafy Lake next. Not really sure what kind of theme I will be going for, but for sure I will try to make it look as good as this park. Or well, I'll try to make something which I'm at least as happy with. So yeah, this park will be available from my Discord server once this video has been released. So yeah, I really hope all of you will go and take a look on my Discord server to download this park. It's completely free, and I just hope a lot of people will go and check it out. Alright, hope everybody enjoyed this video. Hope you all enjoyed watching me build this park. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like. It would really help out my channel and it would make me really happy. And hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.